Welcome to the FCTV podcast. And my next guest here is Claude Aiken. He is Chief Strategy and Legal Officer at Nextlink Internet. He brings decades of experience in broadband policy and rural connectivity to his role. Before joining Nextlink, Claude led WISPA, representing broadband providers delivering fixed wireless, fiber, and other connectivity solutions across the country. Before that, he spent nearly a decade at the Federal Communications Commission, helping shape telecom policy from inside the agency. He's seen the broadband industry from just about every angle: policy, regulation, and deployment, and we're excited to get his perspective today. So, Claude, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're here. So before we get too far into the topic here, just tell me a little bit about Nextlink and what you're doing for them as the Chief Strategy Officer.
Sure. So Nextlink Internet is an internet service provider that got started in rural Texas just over a decade ago. It started as a small fixed wireless operator and has since scaled to be a fiber and fixed wireless operator across 12 states in Middle America. And what I do for the company, I basically anything that other people hand me off and put on my plate. So I handle verticals as diverse from legal to strategic partnerships to government affairs to acquisitions. I get a hand in a lot of different things, and so I get to see a lot of different angles in the business, which is fun.
All right, cool. All right, so broadband access in rural America.
Yeah.
It's been a problem in the past, and the government has tried lots of ways to try to solve the solution, right? Or solve the problem. So, like, where are we now? Like, is it still an issue, or are people still without access in rural America?
Yeah, it is. I think the short of it is, it is. There are still places in the country that don't have adequate access to broadband. It's definitely gotten better over the past few years, but we were talking earlier about driving all over rural America, and I get to hear a lot of interesting stories from folks. And I talked about it a little bit this morning in my presentation, but some of them are things that you really wouldn't think of, right? Like, we did a fiber deployment in rural Gage County, and I was talking to one of the farmers there, and they told me, hey, your internet service helps me to sleep at night. That's something that I haven't heard before. And so she told me, hey, our tractors and our combines are basically like roving data centers now. They take in and put out incredible amounts of information. And if we can't get that information uploaded to the cloud and then back into the tractor for the next day of work, we can't be as efficient in precision agriculture. So before, she was on a poor satellite connection. She rolled the tractor into the barn, and she would have to stay up half the night making sure that the data would actually upload. Now that she has reliable fiber internet, she can sleep at night.
Right. So I guess you want that story to be told sort of all across the area, right? Like,
yeah,
not
absolutely.
Just, there shouldn't be places that don't have access to that, right?
Yeah, and it's a kitchen table type issue, right? Like, we talk a lot in the policy space about all of the amazing things that broadband enables from in the energy vertical, in the healthcare vertical, in public safety, things like that. But really, what a lot of folks in rural America are concerned about are just being able to live their lives like they want to, and broadband can be an amazing enabler of that.
And I imagine that, a lot of times people have talked about the COVID pandemic kind of woke people up to that. So,
sure.
I mean, that's obviously the case in rural America with broadband, right?
Yeah. And it's an interesting twist on it, right? Because I think before COVID, if you were a rural operator and you entered a region, people would just be absolutely ecstatic. During COVID, people solved their broadband program. It may not be a perfect solution, but they figured out a way to get connectivity just because, when schools were shut down, when people were forced to work from home, some areas a little bit less time than others, but people had to do something. And so now when you are an operator coming into a community for the first time, you may be welcomed with open arms, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to switch to your service if you're rolling it out.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that. So why? I mean, they're looking for something different, or they're happy with what they've already got, or why?
So sometimes it's a trust issue,
Okay.
right? Folks in rural areas have often been promised a lot, and those promises have not been delivered upon. So there's a bit of a trust gap that you have to overcome. So if they have made do for years with a poor satellite connection, and you come in and you say, hey, guess what? Our fiber internet's going to solve your problems, so that, say, an RN in rural Nebraska who commutes into the capital city to do her work every day, she's used to having to stay late to do her charting. And that means she misses out on family time in the evening because she doesn't have adequate internet at home. She's not going to change the way she lives her life until she trusts that you're going to solve that problem for her. And thankfully, that was something that we were able to do. And now she's able to come home, go to her kids' soccer practices and games, and then do her charting from home at night, whereas before she wasn't. But it's not like we immediately pass her home and she says, yep, I want fiber internet.
So it's not a, field of dreams where it's like, build it and they will come magically.
It's not that. It's not that anymore.
Okay. So then what have you guys had to do? You've really had to market to people or get involved in the community. I mean, how do you get people to adopt once the infrastructure's there?
There's a lot of it is word of mouth. So having a trusted person in the community vouch for you, showing up and engaging and sponsoring the local baseball team. One of the things that we've found is successful is standing up, using our local offices and warehouses and using them as we like to call digital empowerment centers, where seniors in the community can come and do everything from fix their devices to learn how to use AI. Those have been anything that you can do to increase trust if you don't have it at the beginning, because word of mouth is very important. Marketing can close some of that, but until people can trust that you deliver what you say you're going to do, they're not going to switch.
Yeah, because do you think there, in the past, when you say deliver what you say you're going to do, have there been promises made in rural America?
Oh, absolutely.
That just were completely, in what sense? Just maybe they got them something, but the speed wasn't there, the reliability wasn't there.
It's all of the above. The speed wasn't what was promised. The service would go out when they needed it not to.
When it rained, when the wind blew.
Exactly. Or the gophers chewed through the fiber cables and they didn't fix it in time. Any number of reasons. And rural broadband is hard, right? There's a reason why it's been a challenging vertical to serve, just because it's incredibly capital intensive, and you've got a much higher level of cost per subscriber than
typical. A lot fewer people.
Yeah. More cost, fewer people.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So in a lot of places, though, you guys aren't the only game in town, right?
Yeah,
so,
no, that's true.
Is that something again, dividing the world into pre-COVID, post-COVID? Are you seeing a lot more deployments when you go out there? And maybe this is even related to some of the government funding, right?
Sure.
we've got billions of dollars out there with BEAD funding. Are you guys going to markets and seeing more competition?
Absolutely. Just a couple weeks ago, we were looking at doing a joint trench arrangement with the electric utility in a new rural subdivision that was going in. And that's something that we really like to do because it drives down the cost of deployment. The electric company's already opening up the grounds. You just throw your stuff in there as well. Come to find out, we were one of 4 fiber providers that was thinking about going into that joint trench. And so that's just on the fiber side. On
an embarrassment of riches.
It's great from the consumer's perspective. But you not only have scenarios like that, but you've also got Starlink that has a $35 a month promo. You've got fixed wireless providers. You've got we've got fiber overbuilders that have targets to hit from their funders. The space is a lot more competitive now than it used to be.
Okay, so like, what does that mean for you guys? I mean, are we like in a? I feel like I've seen this story play out before, right? Yeah. I've been around here for a while, and are we looking at industry consolidation?
I think you already are seeing it, right? You see Cox being bought by Charter, you seeing Frontier being bought by Verizon, and those are just the big headline deals. It's definitely going to drive more consolidation in the space. And if you look at the history of communications, right? You had the original phone companies that ended up being bought up by AT&T, that got broken up and then got bought up again. You had cable companies come in and compete, and then those all got bought up and turned into the larger conglomerates that we see today. Same story on the mobile wireless side.
Wireless, yeah.
So
I was there for it all, Claude.
I was there for most of it too. But So I think this is a playbook that we've seen before. It's a little bit different now.
I was
because
going to say, what's different, right? Because those were like all, if I'm not mistaken, like companies buying like companies, right? Like bigger company buying a smaller company, or 2 small guys coming together. So like, is that what's happening, or is there a bit of a twist on it now?
I think there's definitely a bit of a twist on it.
Okay.
It's a little bit more complicated because everybody's already playing in everybody else's sandbox. You've got the big cable companies who have mobile wireless services. You've got
but there's a lot of like cross technology, right? So it's
there's a lot of technological convergence now.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily draw down the incredible capital cost of doing the infrastructure, but you've got folks who are looking at more verticals to try to find subscriber revenue beyond just the phone service or the broadband service. So then you see folks bundling together voice and video and mobile and broadband and home security and anything that you can do to try to increase the amount of subscriber revenue you can get. Folks are looking at.
Right. And it's not just fiber. So it's like a mix of a fiber provider maybe buying a fixed wireless provider, or even mobile providers. Is that happening?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's happening all over the place.
Yeah. So is that good or bad? It's probably, I don't know.
It's probably a little bit of both, right? It's anytime you see consolidation in the industry, you're kind of losing a little bit of your sense of locality. It's usually the smaller local providers being bought up by the larger ones, and so sometimes, unless the larger one is very intentional about keeping that local touch, some of that gets lost along the way. But it can be great for the ability of that provider to then offer incredible discounts to consumers if they want. I mean, we are by no means a giant at Nextlink, and we have had instances of folks who were literally crying on the phone saying, like, I have to cancel because this other provider is offering me service for $30 a month plus a $300 gift card, plus a free Wi-Fi router.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it gets pretty competitive out there.
So what about Starlink, right? I mean, how has that sort of changed things? Is that, is it even adequate for most consumers?
I think it's one of those things that we are kind of seeing a lot of people say that good enough is good enough.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is if the price is good and the reliability is good enough for what their needs are, they're willing to switch. So if you've got Starlink, similar deal, right? Rolling out a promotion for $35 a month plus free equipment. For somebody who's had to deal with inflation for year after year after year, while their income has held relatively static, no matter how much they love you, if it meets their basic needs, they're going to go with it.
Wow. So the federal government is spending all this money to put fiber out as deep as they can. It sounds like it's a tough business. It's hard to make money here, right? So, I mean, is that was it a mistake to push the fiber as much as they did, or you think that it's the right move? It's just like,
I think it's one of those things that only time will really tell.
Okay.
You saw some pretty massive fiber deployments in the late 90s after the Telecommunications Act of 1996 passed, and it really incented a lot of fiber deployment. But then the dot-com bust happened and a lot of those companies went bankrupt. That fiber is still there, still used by other people, but the businesses that were built on it don't exist anymore. So I think it's one of those things, like I said, that only time's really going to tell whether this policy decision was the right one. It's a fantastic technology. We deploy fiber whenever we can, whenever it makes economic sense. But there are areas that for us, it doesn't make economic sense to do.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. And it's, like you said, it's a tough business to make money. And it sounds like things are still, we're going to go through another big transition, right? Another shakeup where we see some consolidation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes I wish we didn't live in such interesting times, but it's good job security for all of us.
Well, that's good. That's good. So as we wrap things up here, let's look, 5-10 years from now. What do you think, or what do you hope will be different for people living in rural communities when it comes to broadband access, competition, and opportunity?
Sure. I mean, for folks living in rural communities, I hope that they have excellent service at excellent prices from an excellent provider. I would like that to be us, but
would you like to see competition still?
Yeah, I mean, I think competition keeps everybody honest. And it prevents folks from acting in ways that are contrary to consumer welfare. But ultimately, kind of like I was saying, when you're coming into a community and you're having to convince people to switch, from the consumer perspective, that couldn't be a good thing, right? That means they have been able to find something that meets their needs and is doing what they needed to do to be able to live their lives.
Right. That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, and hopefully we get to have that conversation in 5 to 10 years. So
absolutely.
Thanks a lot for joining us here at FCTV.